Welcome! In this lecture, we'll be beginning to create our first material, or dirty platform, and with a moving arrow. To create a dirty platform, let's look at how do we create a plate that looks like this inside of our level. There are three things you need. First, you need a cube, of course. You need the basic mesh. The second, you need the color. You need a color that's roughly looks like this. And last, you need to make it look dirty. So we need to finish these three steps in order to have a cube, in order to have a plate that looks like this. Let's tackle these issues one by one. Alright, back in the editor, you can see we have a pretty empty level. So first, I'm going to place a cube inside of our world. I'm going to go to Place Actors and go to Shapes. And here, I can choose the cube. I'm going to drag it out into our world. And I'm going to scale it to the proper size. So I'm going to hit R. And I'm going to scale it a little bit on the X-axis. Maybe a bit on the Y-axis. Alright, I think this shape is looking great. This is enough for our plate. The first step has been taken care of. Now the next step, color. How do we assign color to a shape inside of our level? That's where material comes in. So first, I'm going to create a folder. So I'm going to right mouse button click and choose new folder. For this one, I'm going to call it materials and double click to open it. I'm going to create our first material. So I'm going to go to materials, material, and I'm going to name this M_first material. The reason why I'm using M is I'm following the Unreal's naming convention. So M is short for material, and double click to open it. You can see that it's pretty empty and we have many sockets in here. Oftentimes people will find these sockets look intimidating, but I assure you, the more you learn, you will find this look easier and easier. To give our cube a color, apparently we need to do something to our base color. We need to plug something into the base color. And that's where data types come in. Data types is a very important concept if you want to get good in the material graph, and this is often a concept that gets neglected by learners. So let's take a look at them and why they are so important. There are three basic data types inside of the material graph, and they are extremely important to anything that you want to do. The first one is the constant one vector or one float. It only has one value. The second one is the constant two vector, or you can call it two floats. There are two values. And the last one is constant three vector, three floats. These are the most important three basic data types. And if you take a look at them, for the constant two vectors, even though in here it says R and G, but remember, R and G are very interchangeable. It really depends on what kind of socket you are plugging this into. If you are plugging this into a base color socket, so these three letters, they mean red channel, green channel, or blue channel. But if you are plugging this into, say, a position socket, and this will mean X, Y, and Z. So it really depends on what socket you are plugging into. And these data, they don't always mean red channel and green channel. So keep that in mind. This is a very important concept. After knowing the three basic data types, and next question would be, what kind of data types of each socket is looking for? Let's look at base color first. For base color, it needs a data type. Every one of these sockets needs a specific data type. Plugging into the correct data types is the first step if you want to create amazing materials. And for base color, it's looking for a constant three vector. So it's looking for RGB. And in here, if you plug three vector into base color, R and G and B, they mean red channel, green channel, and blue channel. So remember that, but that's not always the case. They could mean something else. For example, X, Y, and Z. Alright, now that we know the socket base color needs a constant three vector, let's do that. I'm gonna right mouse button click, and I'm gonna type constant, and right away you can see we have constant three vector. Hit enter to select it, and you can plug this into the base color. And you can always double click here And by default, no matter what you choose in here, these values, they don't change. If you want to see the changes, if you want to live preview the color you choose, you need to give either of these channels a value first. So I'm going to give it red 1 first. Now I can change the colors. I'm going to give this, say, a purplish color and hit apply. Go back to our level, and I'm going to assign this to our cube. Right away, you can see there's a materials section, and I'm going to assign this to element 0 and release it. Now my cube has color. And that brings us our challenge today. So your challenge is, I want you to place a cube into the world, scale it to proper size, and I want you to plug a proper value into the base color socket. I hope you remember what kind of data types does the socket need. And last, I want you to assign your material to the cube. Now pause the video and give this a go. How did that go for you? Did you successfully assign your material to the cube? Let's do it again. So I'm gonna drag out another cube and into the level like this. And I'm gonna scale down this cube a bit on the x-axis. I'm gonna move it up a little bit, scale it down a bit on the x-axis, on the z-axis, and on the y-axis. And I'm gonna create another material. And for this material, I'm gonna call it m_second material and hit enter. Double click to open it. For our base color, we need some input data. Anytime you need a constant 3 vector, there are 2 ways for you to get it. First, you could always right mouse button click and type constant, and you can see there's a constant 3 vector. Or you can just hold down 3 key on your keyboard and left mouse button click. And this is a hotkey for you to bring the vector out. And this goes the same for constant 1 vector. You can hold down 1 key on your keyboard and bring out a constant 1 vector, 1 float. Or constant 2 vector, you can hold down 2 key on your keyboard and left mouse button click to bring it out. And I'm gonna assign a color, give these 3 channels a value first, so I can change the color. I'm gonna give this cube a bluish color and plug this into base color, hit apply, go to the level and assign this material to this cube. So I'm gonna drag it into the element 0 section under the materials, and now we have a blue cube. Speaking of data types, this may have occurred to you or it may have not, but what if I plug the wrong data types into the socket? I did say for the base color socket, it's looking for a constant 3 vector. But what if I plug into a constant 2 vector or a constant 1 vector? What will happen? Well, let's find out. So first, I'm going to change this color to have a color of red. So I'm going to give the red channel a value of 1 and give blue channel a value of 0. And I'm gonna assign this constant 1 vector a value of 1 and plug this into base color. Alright, you can see now, even though I'm plugging into the wrong data types, the material is still giving me a color, a white color. And if I give these constant 2 vectors a value, say I give a value of 1 in the red channel and plug this into base color, now it's giving me a red color. What's going on here? Didn't you say for the base color socket is looking for a constant 3 vector? Why am I still getting some positive result? Well, that has something to do with the engine and what engine does under the hood for us. So by default, the base color socket is looking for a constant 3 vector. But if you plug in a constant 1 vector, 1 value, it will automatically assign values to the blue channel and green channel. So plugging into a 1 is the same as plugging into a constant 3 vectors with 3 ones in red channel, green channel, and blue channel. So these 2 results are the same. And for constant 2 vectors, I only give a value to red channel. So by default, this is the same as plugging into 1 in red channel, 0 in green channel, 0 in blue channel, and plug this into the base color. So even though we are plugging into the wrong data types, Unreal Engine will still correct these inputs for us when it's fixable, but not always. Sometimes the data types is just not fixable. And when it's not fixable, we need to fix it manually by ourselves. In the future, if you've seen errors inside of the material graph, you might want to check what kind of data type is going into the socket first. In this lecture, we've talked about the basic data types inside of material graph. We've also talked about what engine will do to process the data, even though we plug the wrong data types into the socket. When it's fixable, the engine will fix it for us. And we've also learned how to assign a material to an object. Great job! This is a great start, and I'll see you in the next lecture.